up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. We are here at one of my favorite filming spot locations because guess what? We have that sweetheart of a sports car, and it's this car right here. This is a 2025 Mazda MX-5, better known as the Miata. This particular one is a club trim. But before we get into the iconic drop-top sports car, let's talk about what's going on here. So Mazda is celebrating 35 years of the Miata. And there is a special edition. We're waiting to get our hands on that one, but until we do, we get to go through the twisty bits in this Soul Red painted example. Now, when it comes to sports cars, most people are gonna think of cars that have 500 horsepower, 600 horsepower, maybe even 1,000 horsepower. This Miata has none of that. But what it does have is the purest form of driving. A long, long time ago in a galaxy very, very far away, it was all about the British sports cars, the MGs, the Austin Healys, the Triumphs, these two-seat, very, very light sports cars that didn't have a lot of horsepower, but boy, oh boy, for those who knew how to row through the gears and work the twisty bits, they brought the most amount of fun. And in 1989, when they brought the very first Miata, it was a Japanese brand that really examined that era and kind of perfected it, because now you have the fun driving experience without all the headaches of British sports cars. But what I want to find out is, if you're looking for the most affordable, if you're looking for the one that's like a must-have, is this club version of the Miata the way to go? Let's go ahead, let's dive into ours and find out. Right off the bat, the color, Soul Red. It has to be in my top 3 favorite red colors of any brand, and that includes Porsche and Ferrari. Now, at the front of the business, you'll see a refresh that they did on the headlight housing. You're gonna have your LED daytime running lamps, but you're also gonna have your LED headlight and more lighting both on the left and the right. That was from a refresh. Now, working our way down, my zonk is you got these fake vents. What is up with that? That's a big no-no. They should have made those fog lamps or functional corner vents of some type, maybe for braking, maybe for aero, but not something fake. I mean, come on. As we come across that front nose, this design, this generation has been around since 2016. You do have a section of gloss black, nothing that's a big deal, and then you have your massive lower grille opening, fully functional. And then I like the way that they added the 2 kind of side splitter extensions, one on each side. Those are functional pieces to help with downforce. And that's the interesting thing, is that this car isn't going to do 200 miles an hour unless a Lamborghini Huracan is pushing it. But aerodynamics still very important. And I don't know if you've ever seen the Mazda Spec Racing Series, the Spec Mazda series. At tracks at Daytona, aerodynamics are everything, because you don't have high horsepower to correct or to keep up. But let me know what you think about the face of it. Still looking fresh. Supposedly the next generation of Miata, they kind of gave up on the electrified one. I'm hoping, keeping my fingers crossed, that I heard correctly, and they're supposed to be bringing an even more powerful engine. We'll have to wait and see if any of that's true. Now, as we rise up, very, very sleek. I love the shape of everything because there's no hard edges on this car. It almost kind of reminds me of the old Jaguar XKEs, the way everything's just nice, smooth, and flowing. Now, when we come around the bend, you do have new wheels for 2025. Not my favorite, but they are new. Machined aluminum with the gloss spoke set up all the way around. And if you're wondering, well, what's the size of this wheel? 17-inch wheel. Tires are only 205 on the width and 45 series side. Well, we really don't need or want a super wide tire, because that's going to create more rolling resistance, which is going to create more drag. My thing that I would do is I would spend the $4,900 extra, get the BBS forged wheels, get the Brembo brakes and the Recaro seats. But you could have your club standard like this one is, or you could option in those other goodies. It's up to you. You do get the Bilstein dampers all 4 corners because this is a club, and you do get suspension specs that are beefed up. The roll bars, the spring rates, all those have been stiffened to cut down on your body roll and to give you a firmer ride. And if you're not wanting a firmer ride, then stay away from the Club, because the Club, out of all the trims, has the firmest. Remember, Sport is your entry level, then you have Club, and then the rest are Grand Touring, and then you have to choose whether you want the conventional folding soft top or the RF folding hard top. But let me know what you think about the wheels. Not my favorite, but I have seen worse, promise. Coming down the side, you have your little side marker light that just has that unique kind of touch and flavor to it. Color matched on the mirror caps with the Soul Red. We have gloss black around the frame of the windshield. And from the side, you can see that this is a small sports car. And if you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, why does it gotta be so small? Guess what? All those cars, brands that I mentioned, the Triumphs, the MGs, all that, they were all very small because they didn't have a lot of horsepower. Coming towards the rear, I love the way you got that nice flared out fender. Of course, we're gonna have a limited slip diff, and you can see how our folding soft top folds nicely. I'm okay with the cloth showing. It gives it that classic look, and you got your two rollover hoops. I'm gonna have Steven kind of swing around to show you the back side of those, and a little bit of a sort of air cleaner in between the two to clean up the air that's coming in the cabin. One of the things I can't stand, why do they still got to put these antennas on here? Get rid of it. Is this able to come off? What's this? What's this? We're gonna do this. Look how nice this is gonna look once it's gone. Get out of here. Just now, I can't rip that off or I'm gonna have a hole in the sheet metal, but much better without it. Just put everything in this shark fin antenna. You can see that smooth curve, no hard edges anywhere. They do a great job on the LED lighting. Even the way they blend in your third brake light, super clean. And then working our way down, you're gonna have a dual outlet exhaust, nice kind of round opening and just straight up cut for that 4-cylinder engine. And then if you notice, it doesn't say Miata anywhere on here. It says MX-5 because that's technically the name of the vehicle. But let me know what you think about the exterior, especially with the new wheels. Let's open up the hood and see what's powering it. All right, guys, we got the hood pop. There is a prop rod. I'm not gonna zonk it because guess what? This car weighs a little bit more than 2,300 pounds. That is unheard of in the car industry today. Everything is so damn heavy. Underneath the hood, I love this engine. There's not a bunch of plastic covering it up. You have that aluminum cam cover. You can see your ignition coils for your 4 cylinders. Rear wheel drive, what do we got going on? It's a 2-liter inline 4 naturally aspirated engine, 181 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a 6-speed manual, and it's one of the best manuals that is available today in the market. You could also get a 6-speed auto if you choose to do so. I guess we could still be friends. 0 to 60, if you know how to dance on your twinkle toes, right around 5.7 seconds. Top speed 140 miles an hour, which is gonna probably feel like 200 miles an hour since you're sitting so close to the road in this vehicle. MPGs, you're not gonna be fueling up very much. 26 in the city, 34 on the highway, and like I said, 2,366 pounds. And if you're wondering about brake size, it's actually 11-inch rotors, all 4 corners. I also want to point out that in the engine compartment, you'll notice our 3-piece bracing from one shock top mount to the other to stiffen up the front end. But that's a damn good looking engine. It really is. Why don't we go ahead though? It looks good, but does she sound good? Let's fire this up and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Mazda Miata, the MX-5, this being the club version. First, I want to tell you, because I know you want to know what price is since we're talking about affordability. Starting price for an MX-5 is the Sport. That has an MSRP of $30,000. This club, which has the beefed up suspension and all those other goodies, that's going to be an MSRP of $34,000. And like I said, if you want to add the forged BBS wheels, the Recaro seats, and the Brembos, that's another $4,900 on top of the 34. So technically, starting price is $30. That's quite affordable in today's market. But let's see what you get if you go Mazda Miata to the door panels. I love the way that they bring the Soul Red, the exterior color, into the interior. Nice white contrast stitching, soft touch on the armrest, and there's no cup holders or anything. I love it. Keep it simple. Going from the door panel to the dash, more of that stitching. You do have your nice round AC vents. You slide on in, you're going to get an 8.8-inch infotainment system. It isn't a touchscreen. You could touch it, but it's not going to do anything. But you can see you have your native navigation. It also has wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You do have to use the direct drive control knob to work it. But you know what? Once you figure it out, it's not a big deal. It's sort of like making out in the dark. Once you figure it out, it's not a big deal. Let me throw it in reverse, see what that backup camera looks like. It's actually quite clear in the resolution. I just wish it took up more of the real estate here that we have on screen size. And it does give you fixed trajectory lines. They do not move when you move the steering wheel. And then you're right back where we started. Love the way they integrate another AC vent in there rather than just leaving that plastic. You have your standard AC controls, blower fan. You have your temperature. Heated seats, no ventilated seats. What are we going to do? USB-Cs. You got a place for 2 Twinkies. You have cup holders, and what's cool about them is that you can remove them or you can keep them in here. There's actually 2 different places where you could put cup holders. Mechanical e-brake with the stitching and the nice leather on the boot. And then this is where the magic happens. Love this transmission. Short throws, crisp engagement, 6-speed manual. Fits perfectly in the palm of your hand. It really will not melt in your hand. It'll melt in your mouth, but not in your hand. There's that direct drive control knob for your infotainment system. Softly padded. Open it up, you get enough room in there for, I would say, 3 boxes of Tic Tacs. You do have a glove compartment in the backside. This is where you could actually slide a box of Twinkies in there for those longer journeys and excursions. And then the seats, the leather. You have the speakers in the headrest, the Bose. Simple bolstering, manual controls for the passenger and for the driver. And then watch this, to put the top down, it doesn't get any easier than that. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel of this Miata. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Now, you would think me being 6 feet tall, I would feel really cramped. I don't. Once I get in, I feel like I'm wearing an isotonic glove. I feel like it's just perfectly wrapped around me. Seats do slide, which is nice, and they also do recline. It's all manual controls, but they have it for you right there. Same with the steering wheel. Nice leather, perfectly shaped, flat black on all the switchgear. It is manual tilting and telescoping. And then I love the dash. We got that tachometer right where it belongs in the center, all the way up to more than 7,000 RPM, and then analog speedometer, and then you have a digital gauge cluster on the left. Obviously not a back seat to show you, but we're going to show you the trunk. We're going to get your junk in there, and we're going to go on throttle in this Miata. All right, guys, trunk time. Now, obviously there's not going to be a big trunk, but you do have 4 cubic feet of space. And the way that they shape it, you can go to Costco and get those 42 bottle cases of Kirkland water. You could put about 4 of them in this trunk. So it is actually quite usable for that nice weekend getaway with you and your sweetheart. But why don't we go ahead? I don't have my sweetheart with me, but I do have some sweet roads I want to take you down. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go rip them. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 MX-5 Miata. A lot of people always ask me, Joe, if you love these cars so much, how come you don't have one? Well, I think a lot of it just comes down to timing. And right now I have like 0 space in my garage, but I do love and appreciate these so much. It's real simple. You shut the traction control off or you leave it on and you got your 6-speed manual and the triple pedals. You ready? On throttle, here we go, yeah! All the way out to 7,500. And then it's all about momentum. Steering is so precise. Look at that. Great sound to that 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated engine on the brakes. Heel toe downshift. changes direction so well. And like I said, go in the club, if you like twisty bits like I do, it's gonna give you the beefier suspension. But you're still gonna have a blast if you wanna go for the most affordable. The Sport, you really can't go wrong because of just everything that you're getting at that entry point, especially when it comes to this kind of sports car. There's not a lot around, and it's built so well, reliable, they hold their value well, and of course the fun factor all day long. You're gonna have a blast driving this thing. Visibility out the front is great. If you're ready, I'm ready though. We're gonna go on throttle again. I'm gonna put the top down. Look how easy this is. Boom, I'll put the side windows up. Are you ready? Second gear, on throttle, here we go. Rev, rev, rev. Nice short throws from that transmission. On the brakes. You're able to attack them. Attack. It's all about momentum. Yeah! So composed. She just loves to dance, and if you have your dancing shoes on, she's gonna dance with you absolutely perfectly. And it's crazy because with the top down and the side windows up, you're not getting a ton of buffeting in the cabin, which is great. And the heel toe downshifting is so easy to do because the pedals are placed so perfectly. Working the clutch, it's nice and light. You could make your U-turns. Drive this in traffic, it's not gonna break your leg, I promise you. And then the fact that you could put the top up and down within like 4 freaking seconds is fantastic. It's just really easy to do. Yes, you can't touch the 8.8-inch infotainment system, but I don't think it's gonna matter once you're behind the wheel because the wheel and the shift knob is where you're gonna wanna place your hands. Seats, they're comfy. They could use a little bit more bolstering, but still, you're held into place fairly well without any issues. And you do have storage in here, like I said, over the shoulder. You do have that large storage compartment. But the fact that it's just easy to drive, there's not a bunch of different drive modes and all that. You got your limited slip diff, rear wheel drive. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. On throttle, here we go, yeah! Chirping tire's a happy tire. Nice. Yeah! You just carry that speed through the corner. On the brakes. Look at this, look at this. Nice. She's just so flickable, so tossable, so smooth. You got the linear torque delivery. If you want to learn how to be a better driver, do your track days in this. You don't have the high horsepower to get you out of your mistakes. You'll be able to learn what your mistakes are, find out where you're losing speed, and then increase that. And then once you get up to a faster car, it'll actually be easier to drive. So, you know, say what you want about the Mazda Miata not having 500 horsepower, it will make you the better driver. But we gotta go on throttle one more time for the twisties. Don't you think? I think so. On throttle, here we go, yeah! Got a nice gear indicator right under the tach. so well. Look at that. Let her rev, don't shift. She pulls all the way to red line. Absolutely amazing how much fun this car is to drive and how much fun it is to just let it all hang out. And then, like I said, to put the top up, I mean, watch this. I'm just gonna grab it, flip it. Right now I'm doing 20 miles an hour or so. Latch it down, and we're good to go. Love the way it's not a bunch of fake sound coming into the engine compartment. Everything is exactly as it should be for a sports car. Yes, there are cars that are faster. Yes, there are cars that are more expensive, but none of them are as fun to drive as this thing. It really is true. Miata is always the answer for that fun driving. But like I said, the clutch model, has a nice flow to the clutch pedal. It's not like an on-off switch, which is good. And just really, really smooth. Everything is just so smooth in this car. All right, guys, I hate to do this to you, but we gotta wrap it up. But I know I got the top up. I gotta go on throttle one more time. Are you ready? On throttle, here we go! So easy to launch from a dead stop. Nice. Love the way there's that gear indicator there. I'm in 4th gear, heel toe, and here we go. Oh man, I could do this all freaking day long, but we gotta wrap it up. I promised everybody we gotta get this done. So I'm hoping that you've enjoyed this one. It's been good to share with you. We're gonna get back and wrap it up in this Miata. I'll see you in a Miata minute. All right, guys, another great day in so many ways. Anytime I have a twisty road and a manual transmission, I am the happiest camper in the world. But of course, we got to thank everybody at Mazda USA for getting us access to this Presley vehicle. Now it's your turn to let me know what you think. Is this really the most affordable sports car? And is this the one that you need to drive to really, really appreciate? Let me know in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. I'll come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rights family. Gotta get up to Stephen Flood. He's working it. Stephen had to not get behind the wheel of this because he can't fit. He's so swole that it just wasn't going to happen for him. But that's what he wants. He wants to get big and strong, and he is each and every day. So thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.